All right, and we are live. Hello, hello. Happy afternoon to everybody on the call. This is the final session of our 4 sessions for this EBB Training Quest application refresher. So thank you for being on this call. If you've been on any of the others, we appreciate you coming back. If not, we're glad that you got onto the last call before they were done. So basically what we're going to do on this call is we're going to give you a quick refresher of the Quest application, how to get properly onboarded into the Quest application, and how to effectively use it so you can start running applications the proper way. So if you haven't seen that communication yet, we do need to navigate away from using the website for processing EBBPs. You can still do the national verifier through the website, but as far as activating or running application through Boost, you're going to do that through your tablet and through the Quest application going forward. And we just want to make sure that you're ready to go, you understand the expectation, and we're able to walk you through that process because we're well aware some of us have not used the Quest app ever, or even if we have, it's been months. So we want to make sure that you guys are ready to go so we can help you guys be successful and sell a ton of EBBPs. Now, just a couple housekeeping items. If you do have any questions during this call, please do not wait to ask those questions. Just fire them away into the Google chat. If you do have a question and you're not able to put it into the chat, at the end of the call, we'll have some time to answer some questions. With that being said, if you're ready, Garrett, I'm ready. Let's hit the next slide. All right. So just in case you haven't seen, up until this point, we are offering free internet service through the stimulus relief package. So exciting news. I'm sure most of you already know this. I'd be very surprised if you didn't. But basically, if a customer is approved, they're able to get 12 months of free internet service. Now, this can be done on a mobile hotspot or this can be done on a cell phone. So there's a couple ways of doing it, but the process is really the same either way. It comes down to 4 simple steps, and that's run the national verifier, which gives them the eligibility to be able to get this program, then running it through the Quest app, which gives them the ability to get the Boost service for this program. And then we activate it through the sales portal to make sure everything is working. And then we have to go back to the Quest application in order to update the application with the new number and confirmation, which is going to trigger the system to give the customer 12 months of free service. So without further ado, let's walk you through those 4 steps. So the first of those 4 steps is you need to be onboarded into this process. So you're going to need a RAD ID. What the heck is a RAD ID? I'm glad you asked. Basically, what a RAD ID is, it's a representative ID that's a unique number that connects the enrollment representative's identity to the transactions completed in the NLAD and the national verifier. This number cannot be shared with anyone besides the carrier you work for. Basically, you have to have this code in order to be legally authorized to sell this program. So very important that you have one of these, and let's show you how to get one. Next slide, please. All right, so this link on the top in blue underline, which you're going to see in the chat here very shortly, is going to be the link that you're going to want to use. If for some reason after this call you don't have this link, you were unable to capture it in the chat, you'll be able to find this in the quick links in the sales portal, and Dee's going to walk you through some of those quick links in a little bit. But we highly encourage that you go ahead and get your RAD ID prior to being onboarded into Quest, because by doing so, that's really going to expedite the process. And if there's any issues, it's going to help us be able to resolve those before we go to the next step. So simply after you click that link, it's going to prompt you to go to this screen that you see where it says Representative Accountability Database, and you'll see Register Here, which is in that red box on the bottom left corner. After you select that red box, it's going to take you to the next slide, which is going to simply ask you to put in an email address. Very important, you're using an email address that you have access to. Do not use an email address you can't get into, because you're going to need to be able to retrieve the email that's going to be sent your way. So please put in a good email address and then select I am not a robot and hit submit. After you do so, you're going to see this. This is next steps. Thanks for submitting this. You're going to get an email with the next steps. So simply just go to your email that you just had input, and you're going to see an email that looks like this from no reply. And then it'll say RAD representative registration link. I guarantee that 99.9% of the time, this is going to end up in your spam folder. So it's very important that you look into your spam first. In some cases, it can end up in different folders. So if you need to, feel free to just search your email for no reply. After you find it, you need to click that email and mark it as safe and not spam. After you've done so, you'll be able to open the email. And when you open the email, you're going to see this screen right here where it's going to say, thank you for submitting, and click here to continue. The here is in blue and underlined. That's the link you're going to need to select in order to start registering for your RAD ID. After you select the click here, it's going to take you to this next slide, which is simple stuff, right, guys? Just putting in your first and last name, your street address, home address, all of that, and then your date of birth and the last 4 of your social. Very important that when putting in your phone or putting in your name, that you put it as it is stated on your ID or birth certificate. So just to give you an example, my name is Zachary, is my legal name. Everybody calls me Zach. Used to call me Mr. Mustache, but don't have one of those anymore. But anyways, so when I'm registering for my account, I would put Zachary, not Zach, because that is actually my legal government name. So after you've done that, you're now going to be required to answer 3 security questions. In the event that you forget your login information, make sure you type in that correctly and put answers that you will remember. And then you have to agree to all the terms and of service and disclaimers. After you've done all that, you'll go ahead and move to the next step, which gives you the ability to review your information and please take the 30 seconds to review everything and make sure there's no typos. You didn't put a nickname in. You do have the right email address, birthday, last 4 social, and security questions. After you verified that there is no typos and everything looks good, you can proceed with hitting submit. After you hit submit, you'll see the next steps. We're going to send you another email. Same process. If you don't see this email, go to your spam, mark it safe, mark it not spam, and then you'll be able to select the links that are in there. But once you are able to open up that email, you're going to see if it's approved or not. If it's approved, you will see a RAD ID. You'll be able to write down that RAD ID, take a picture of it, save that email, whatever is most convenient for you. But if the RAD ID is not approved, you'll also be told that, and it will give you instruction of what you need to do in order to get approval. So just follow those instructions. If you have confusion with that, reach out to your account executive and we can give some guidance. But as long as you're doing everything properly, you should see approved more times than not. And then after you've done that, you have successfully created yourself a RAD ID. Next slide, please. And now that you have your RAD ID, it's time to get you enrolled into the Quest app. So what you'll need to do is send your name and email to your account executive, or if you have a team lead who has the ability to invite you, they can also help you with this. Again, when you're sending your name, it needs to be your government issued name. So make sure you're spelling that correctly. Because again, if I'm your account executive, I'm going to just basically copy and paste what you send me. So make sure you send that correctly. And then your email address that you have access to. After you give that to me or your account executive, we're going to get you invited. And you're going to get another email from a no reply. Same process. Go to your spam, mark it safe, mark it as not spam. And then once it makes its way back to your inbox, you open up that email. And it's going to tell you to get started. Now, it's important that you open this on some type of device that has a camera, because you're going to need a camera in order to be registered onto this. Because you're going to have to take some pictures and stuff. So after you open up that email, it's going to look like this one on the bottom left. This is 1, 2, 3. And you will simply select on the bottom to create your profile. It's going to prompt you to put in a username and password. And then you'll be able to go to the next step, which is that you submit it. And they're going to send you another email that says you're ready to start your training. Then you need to do the training video. Even if you know exactly how to do all of this, you still got to do the training video, guys, because if you don't do the training video, you won't be an active user in Quest. After you complete the training, you will be 100% good to go and ready to sell this program on the Quest app. Now, if you're still having issues using it immediately after doing the training, reach out to your account executive and we can typically send it through a little quicker so you're able to start doing applications immediately. So that's the process of creating a RAD ID, and that's how you get onboarded into Quest. Now let's pass it over to Dee so she can walk you through how to get that Quest app and how to run applications through it. Take it away, Dee.
Thank you, Zach. Okay, so the first step, now you've taken your training, you've got your RAD ID, you've got your logins. Now you need to download the Quest app on a tablet. The tablet is the preferred use. However, if you don't have a tablet, in the meantime, you can download the Quest app on a phone that is at least 6 inches, a 6-inch screen. So there's two sites you need to go to. This is not in the app store. You actually have to type in the site exactly as it is on the screen. It's one for Android and one for iOS. Next slide, please. Now, it is important that you go to the device management on the tablet, excuse me, and you click on general and then device management. You're going to want to trust the Amirios app, because if you don't trust it, it will not download on your device properly. Yeah. And Amirios Enterprise Solution Services, and then make sure you trust it. And yep. And then there are several resources, as Zach pointed out, for EBB. So in your quick links, there's the EBB resource there, which you see at number 13. Then there's the EBB end-to-end process video. And then there's also the new Boost Flicks. I do want to point out, in the EBB resources, if you did click on that and you went to the overview document, the process for RAD ID is right in there and you can't miss it. Next slide, please. This is your Boost Flicks resource video. So if any of you have new hires or you need a refresher, these are great videos if you have some time to sit and watch. It's got your overview, the pitch, the end-to-end process, so everything you need to know for using Quest. And then the customer checklist, very important to stay organized, to please have these printed out. These will help you to not key in incorrect information. It'll help you go through your NatVer and then your Quest app. And for me, I know, because the tablet is harder for me to type on than using the website, I really like having these checklists in front of me so that I'm not, making a typo and then it doesn't match. Next slide. So, guys, you're very familiar with this. This is just your NatVer. So you still have to run the Nat Verifier, and you can do that on your computer. That is the first step. So first thing you're going to do is go to Qualify for Lifeline. You can go to the website we have here, or you can also go to getemergencybroadband.org, which many of you have saved on your computers. And then the second part is you're going to ask for the last 4 digits of their social security number. Then you're going to, along with the customer, create their account. And then you're going to log into their account and apply for emergency broadband. Once you do that, you ask the customer, are you involved in any of these programs? So like a very popular one, obviously, is SNAP or Medicaid, but there's also the reduced food lunch program, which many folks are getting approved that way. So once you do that, you then see the customer's full name, the address, and the application ID. You're going to want to write down that application ID, and as handy as it is, it's on that customer checklist. You can write it down there because you're going to need it for the Quest app. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we're in the Quest app. You're going to type in your username and your password, hit I accept to the terms, and then you're going to turn on the location, and you're going to start the process of running the customer's information. So click next, please. This is the terms. And then you're going to select your current store. Some of you may be at a lot of stores in the vault. Maybe you have 20 locations and you're at all of them. So select your current store that you're at. Enter the zip code of the customer, not the store, the customer. Click next. And then you can do 2 things here. You can skip this or you can take a photo. If you scan the photo, it must be the same address as you use in NatVer, because it's going to autofill in the app. So this is your choice how you guys want to do it. Some AEs are telling, it's very helpful. On the other hand, I skip this step. Next slide. And then you enter the information. And again, enter it in as you entered it in NatVer. In NatVer, don't use punctuation. So if it's a hyphenated name, don't use punctuation in the NatVer because you cannot use punctuation in the Quest app. If it's optional, I always tell my reps not to put it in. So phone number is optional. I don't put it in. Middle name's optional. I don't put it in. But as you'll see on this particular slide, it does ask for the NAT verification application ID, and you do want to key in what you received from NatVer. And then you click next. And then you type in the customer's email address as you did, as you submitted it in the NatVer website. And then obviously you accept, and then next, and then this is where you're going to choose what you chose on the other site. So whether it be SNAP or the food lunch program, and you choose it. And then most likely there's two different ones. It could be the subscriber, it could be the child. So for in this case, we're going with the subscriber is the eligible applicant. And then you have two choices. So if you're selling a hotspot, you're going to choose the first plan, the first service plan. If you're selling a phone, you're going to choose the unlimited talk and text with 35 gigs of data plan, because the hotspot plan will not, the promo code will not work if it's an actual phone that you're selling. So please be cognizant of choosing the correct plan. And then the next slide. And then you're going to click buy a new mobile broadband device and deliver on site, and next. And then at this point, you're going to hand the tablet over to the applicant. So you're going to hand it to the customer so they can fill it out with their picture in the screen. So they're going to accept, click next. Then you see there's Benny's picture there, Benny Lopez, and he's going to go in and initial all these boxes that he agrees to, and then he agrees and signs. And then he confirms his signature to continue. And then he's going to hand the device back over to the rep. So now it's back over to you. And then you're going to take a picture of the customer's driver's license. I always recommend, if you happen to have their SNAP card there too, and that's what you chose, I take a picture of the front and back of the license and the SNAP card just to expedite the process. And then continue. And then you're going to see it's going to be pending. If something was incorrect, it would tell you this. And if it was incorrect, you have this handy little reject now button. So you have the ability to reject the app right then. You don't have to email your AE or boost support at amirios.com, because you're in the Quest app. So you have that ability to reject it right then and redo it. Otherwise, you're going to click on that little refresh button next to the pending. And then you're going to see qualified. And once you have the qualified, you're going to write down the enrollment number. And then you've got the promo code. And that's also on that handy little customer checklist that you can write down and keep everything in a one-stop shop. And at this point, I'm going to turn it and hand it back over to Zach. And he's going to go through the portal with you guys.
Thanks, Dee. Some awesome info. Dee is a pro at this, so anything that she tells you, I promise you, is going to help you be as successful as possible with this program. So now let's just recap what we've learned so far. We have gotten our RAD ID, we've gotten our Quest ID, we've done the National Verifier, we've done the Quest app. So now it's arguably the easiest part of this entire process, which is activating the device. And you guys know how to activate devices, but there is one little step that's different in the middle of it than at the end as well. So we just want to cover that real quickly. So after you're in Elevate and you select phone activation, you'll be prompted to hit new or existing line. You'll hit new single line. Then you'll see activation. You'll select that. Then after you do that, you'll see to enter a promo code. That is not where you're going to put the promo code. So leave that blank and go ahead and hit next. And then you'll go to Boost Portal. After you go to Boost Portal, on the top left corner, you'll see Activate next to Home. You'll drop down that bar and select Boost Activation, and then you'll be prompted to see this screen that you're all very familiar with. It's very important that, again, we use the zip code for that customer, like Dee had said, in the application process. So use the same zip code and then go ahead and hit Add Device. After you hit add device, you're going to simply scan or type in that hotspot device or phone, depending on what option they selected, and then verify that device. Then the next slide you'll see, this is where we're going to put that promo code in. So there's this little orange like rectangle box over there in the top right corner. We're going to click that drop down, and that's where you're going to put that promo code that Dee showed you where to find in the Quest app. And that's what's going to activate that free service. If you don't do this properly, you're not going to be able to activate the free service for the customer. But if you do put it in properly and hit apply code, you're going to see a $0 plan appear. If you do not see a $0 plan, mistakes were made. So we need to make sure that we go back a step and ensure that everything's done properly, because if you fail to put them on the $0 plan, customer will be required to make a payment in order to start using that service. And they're not going to be very happy with you because you just told them they were getting a year of service for free, and now everything's changing. We don't want that to happen. We don't want to create a negative experience. Now, if in the case that you do happen to select the wrong plan, there is a lengthy process that we can go through to fix this. But again, it's going to be a poor customer experience. So let's make sure we don't do that. After we select the $0 plan, we go to the next step, which is simply entering the customer's information. This is exactly what you put into NatVer and the Quest app. You need to put the first and last name, the address, and the email address, and then ask the customer what 4-digit PIN code they would like to create for their account. After we've done all of that, we'll go to review, and we'll activate that bad boy. Now on the top left corner, you're going to see the new phone number. So just like every other activation we've done, it's going to have its own number, and it's going to have a confirmation code. Highly encourage you to write all that down on your handy dandy checklist like Dee explained earlier. If you don't have that checklist, take a picture, write it down somewhere, wherever you can, but you're going to need that phone number and confirmation code. Now, if you happen to lose that, I'm going to show you in a second where you can find that at. But again, it's going to add extra time to the process. I know we get busy, and the last thing you want to do is create extra time for yourself when you have a store full of people. But nevertheless, we'll still show you how to do that. But let's go ahead and show you what you do after you hit load to POS. So after you go to load to POS, everything's good on the Elevate side. Now you go back to your Quest app, which you should still have it pulled up unless you happen to be in a store that's just slinging these and somebody else is doing an application. But in that event that you don't see the application where you left off, those 3 lines on the top left corner, you can select and go to Application Manager, and then you'll be able to retrieve that application. After you retrieve that application, it's going to look like this at the bottom of the page. You'll still see that promo code, but right under there, you'll see where it says phone number and confirmation code. That's where you're going to put that phone number and confirmation code that I just told you to capture. If after you put that in, you'll select that little checkbox and confirm activation. Give yourself a pat on the back because you have successfully ran an EBBP process from start to finish, and that's going to trigger the system to give the customer that 12 months of free service. If you do not do this step, customers going to be back next month and very angry with you because they're not getting their free service that you promised. So make sure you do that. Now, in the event that you did not get that phone number and confirmation code, don't freak out. There's a way to find it. So under quick actions on the right-hand side, you'll see check activation status. From the check activation status box, you can put in the IMEI of that phone or hotspot and then the PIN code that the customer created and hit submit. Once you do hit submit, you're back to that screen that we showed you earlier. So again, you can use this for any kind of activation, but it's imperative that you capture that information. So like I said, if you do miss it the first time, it's okay. Go back and get it though, because you must put that in to trigger the system for the 12 months of free service. And with that, you have now seen how to properly create a RAD ID for yourself, be onboarded into Quest, how to run a national verifier, how to run the Quest application, how to activate the device, and how to update the Quest application with the proper information to trigger that system. So that's the process from start to finish. Now, I do want to just highlight this new promotion that started on Friday. If you weren't aware, I have exciting news for you. Not only can the customer get a hotspot for only $25, they can now get the amazing Galaxy A12, normally priced at $100, to new customers for only $25. So not only are they getting $600 of free service for their phone, they're also getting a $100 valued phone for only $25. So $700 of value for only 25 bucks. Amazing offer. I can't get enough of it. It's so exciting that we continue to add to this promotion, and there's going to be so many options for you to be able to offer this to your customers. So really good stuff. Now, the last and final slide is arguably the most important. And this is, how do we talk about it? You know, we know how to do it. We got a Quest app. We know how to run the national verifier. We know how to do everything. But how do we get people to buy this thing? And the simple thing is, we just got to talk about it. It's a 12 months of free service. It's a $600 value for the customer. It sells itself, really. But what you have to do is be well versed in it and just be able to explain it. So nothing super extravagant. You don't have to have this crazy, insane speech in order to sell this program. Just need a good one-liner that gets the customer's interest, and then you can expound upon that. So the one-liner that I love the best, the phrase that pays, is this that you see here. Hey, welcome to Boost. Have you signed up for your free internet as part of the stimulus program? Or hey, welcome to Boost. Did you hear about the free internet? Hey, are you here? Did you come in for the free internet? There's all kinds of different ways that you can pitch it, but simply mention it to every customer you see. And then as they ask more questions, you can say, well, actually, in less than 5 minutes, I can see if you qualify for 12 months of free internet service. And then you can start running the application as we just showed you how to do. Now, like Dee said, there's that free lunch program, which is really awesome and an easy way to get everybody approved. But if they don't have kids in school or no kids at all, they can definitely get approved through Medicaid, SNAP, Social Security, Lifeline. There's all kinds of different options for them. And again, it only takes 5 minutes to see if they're pre-qualified through the national verifier. I would argue that it's even quicker than that to those who are comfortable with this program. So that's really it, guys. That's how you get onboarded. That's how you process the program. And this is how you offer the program. With that being said, Garrett, Elena, Dee, do we have any questions that we should answer before we dismiss our class?
I did not see any in the chat.
I have a question, guys, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Brad.
Hello. So I have someone that was verified. He is no longer verified, and his email address is not sending him the email to reset it. He was instructed to delete it, or that we should delete it. And I'm not sure I have the option to delete a user. I can deactivate, but I can't delete and restart with the same RAD ID.
Interesting. Okay. I thought it would delete fully, but yeah, the deactivation, I am not sure that, I will help you find an answer for that, Brad, and I can definitely reach out to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you bet. So unless, Garrett, you have a better solution.
I'm looking right now to see what I can do in my vault.
Okay. Well, Garrett's looking for that. Did anybody else have a question that, maybe they didn't want to put into the chat? Ooh, we got one right here from James. Is the EBBP internet program going on for 12 months, or does the customer only get 12 months worth of hotspot coverage? Good question. Once the customer is approved, they get 12 months of that service, whether they picked on the phone or the hotspot. So let's say they started today, they will have this service available to them for free all the way until September of next year. Now, if they, at the end of that 12 months, they will have the option to reapply if the program is still going on, which it looks like it will be. So then at that time, they can try to reapply for more service. Great question. What other questions do we have, guys? Maybe you didn't want to put in the chat, but you want to come off of mute, feel free to do so.
I've got a question, actually.
Yeah, fire away.
Okay, so what if a customer at this time is eligible for the service, but in 12 months' time they're no longer eligible? What happens to their phone number?
The phone number will still stay around. The account is still created. Now, the free service will then end. Now, so they can continue to keep that service going and switch it to the plan that fits their needs. So, for example, they want to go on the $60 plan. They will be able to keep that number, keep that account, but then we'll have to, continue paying that bill.
Okay. As far as the hotspot service, after that point, it would be the $50 hotspot plan.
You got it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Zach.
Yeah, you bet. Good to hear from you, Chris. Haven't seen you for a while. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, I can't believe you shaved.
I know, I hate it, but
you're not Mr. Mustachio anymore.
I will be. Just give me a couple months.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Chris. What else do we got, guys? Any other questions? All right, we got a couple coming in. Mia asks, what if a customer refuses their driver's license picture to be taken at the end of the application. Unfortunately, they will not be able to get the program then. It will be required as part of the process. So as unfortunate as that will be, you'll just have to explain to the customer, in order for you to get this program, it has to confirm that it's actually you applying for it and not fraudulent activity. It's to protect your identity and to protect your benefits. So we do need your ID in order to confirm that. I would explain it like that, explain that it's for their safety. If they don't want to, unfortunately, they won't be able to. But yeah, you're welcome, Mia. And then Chris, it will not charge them automatically after 12 months, right? You are correct. There's nothing automatically is going to charge them at all. It's just after 12 months, their service won't work anymore, and they'll have to, make a payment if they want the service to continue to work. Any other questions? All right, we'll check back with Garrett. Garrett, you find anything else?
Good, how are you?
I'm waiting on an answer right now. But in the meantime, Zach, what do we do with customers that are coming in to upgrade their phones? Like, is there anything we could do with EBB with those?
I'm going to pass that over to Dee.
Yes, so that's a great talking point. So that's awesome. You're upgrading your phone today. I'm so glad to get you into your new device. Would you also like for me to try and see if you get a free year of service with your current device that you're using? So guys, use those bring your own devices on those customers that are upgrading, take their old phone and run their application and get them a year's free of service.
I love it. Thanks, Dee. And I think that's a great way to be able to get that customer the program, especially if they don't have the budget to be able to buy that, A12 for $25 or the hotspot, but they would still love to have this program. That's a great way they can still get this program without having to purchase a device. So awesome, Dee, and great question, Garrett.
Also, will that work with any other customers?
Absolutely. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dee, but as long as we check the device eligibility tool and the device is eligible to work with us, we can do the same thing, correct?
Yes. And so we can work with our competition. We can work with our own customers. It's just a boatload of sales out there for you guys.
Love it. Thanks, Dee. Great question, Garrett. We did also get another question that said, speaking of upgrades, if the customer gets a phone on the program and came back for an upgrade, is it the same process? And go ahead, Dee.
Okay, so they get the EBB on a phone and they're coming for an upgrade. So they would just have to buy the phone outright and move the number to the new device.
Yeah, it's also important not to change the phone number on the EBB because that's how we're tracking those devices through the program. So if a customer comes in and they want to change their phone number, be sure to check out the plan that's on the account and make sure it's not a $0 EBB because that will take that benefit away.
Good call. Thanks, Garrett. Thanks, Dee. Great information. Great questions. Love it.
Zach, I have a question. That was me asking about the upgrade process. Now, when they come back for an upgrade, like let's say their phone breaks or something, now will they be eligible for any kind of discounts, or is it always like full price for them?
So correct me if I'm wrong, Garrett or Dee, but it's the same process. If they've had the phone for 270 days, they would still qualify for upgrade pricing at that time. But if it's before the 270 days, they would pay SRP. Is that correct?
So I was under the understanding it would be full price, but I'll double check. But I was wrong on the data add-on, so I'm going to double check.
All right, thanks, Dee. Nick, who's your account executive?
Garrett.
Garrett. Okay, so we'll make sure Garrett reaches out to you as soon as we get the answer from Dee. We'll let you know for sure.
Don't hide, Garrett. I need you, please.
That's a good question, though, and I do want to clarify. So let's find out for sure. But I can guarantee before 9 months, before the 270 days, it's going to be full SRP. After that 9 months, there may be a discount, may not. So we'll get you that info.
All right, thank you, guys.
Yep. Perfect. All right. Awesome. With that being said, I think we've got all the questions. We went through the
I had
presentation.
one.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
It's in addition to what was said earlier. So as far as the phone number change, there's no way to update that on like the enrollment process for the new phone number, or is it just gone? Period. They have to redo the whole thing.
I'm not sure. I haven't done one personally. Garrett, do you know?
Yeah, I don't think we've had that situation happen yet, but we do have contact with support groups for this. So we'd probably just have to submit the new phone number with them and verify the enrollment and everything.
Yeah, I'm assuming as long as we're given enough heads up, Chris, we should be able to do it, because like if they change the number right now and their new cycle just started 2 days ago, they're still going to get that free service until that cycle ends. But in order for them to get the free service for the next month, that's where we'll need to make the adjustment. So we'll just need to have a heads up in order to be able to reach out to our contact support.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And then is there any way to check how much data the customer has used? Yes, there is. There you can go through the actual their account on boostmobile.com. You can also check, correct me if I'm wrong, Garrett, but can't you check through the admin login as well?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Garrett.
No, go ahead, Dee.
It's in the so in your little activation guide that comes with the EBB, guys. It gives a step-by-step if they want to change how their password shows, if they want to check their data. It's all in that action guide. So you can just let the customer know, like, here's your, basically like your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your manual for the device. And it's going to give you how to check. It gives a step-by-step. So it's really easy for them.
And then also, if you have the hotspot, that's not necessarily the like a phone, but if you have a hotspot that says 0 out of 0, that means the customer has ran through all of its data. So if it says, it's not going to say 35 out of 35, it actually just caps out at 0 over 0. So that means they have ran out of data and they'll have to wait until next month to get more data, or pay the $5 or $10 for the additional 1 or 2 gigabytes of service.
Perfect. Thanks again, Dee and Garrett. Awesome job at answering those questions for us, teaching me stuff too along the way. I appreciate it. We're 11 minutes over, and we're happy to hang on as long as you guys would like if there's more questions. But if there is no more, then we're happy to dismiss you guys and let you get back to selling these. Any more questions?
I guess I kind of have a dumb one, if you don't mind.
No worries. No questions.
For the hotspot devices, I actually ran into a customer early on, and I now that I think about it, I didn't know what to tell the customer. Someone stole their EBB device. Is there any support for as far as they would just have to buy a new device, or?
Yeah, so they would have to buy the hotspot outright for $50.
Okay.
And then you would move their phone number over to the new device, which is why it's imperative that we give the customer the phone numbers to these hotspots. Because if you don't do that and they still want it, then you have to go in and reject their app, which is going to, reject their app. Then you rerun them again in the Quest and get another promo code. But what that then does is it charges you back, because now there's a hotspot out there that's not getting paid on. Yeah.
So $50 for the device, and is there any way to get the old one blacklisted, or we just have to call customer care for that?
Yeah, if you have the serial number, I'm sure there is. We can just submit it as a stolen. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, for sure. Not a dumb question at all. That was a really good question, because that can absolutely happen. So great question, Chris. Thank you. And Elena, for anybody else that's on the call, she just sent this for Mobile Center, but basically where you can find the information to see how much data usage on that device. So thank you, Elena. All right. Any more questions? Going once, going twice. All right. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your time. Appreciate all the questions. Appreciate the interaction. This might have been the best class yet, Garrett. We might save this for the end. Best for last. I love it. So anything you two would like to add before we dismiss?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, always save the best for last. So
Thanks for joining, guys.
appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day and go sell some EBBPs.
Yep, I'm at 17 this month. Have a good one, guys.
Good job, Chris. On fire. I'm going to bring you back to my team.
I don't think G would appreciate that.
Fair enough.
Have a